The biggest deal ever made. That's what President Trump is calling the latest trade agreement with the European Union just days ahead of the August 1st tariff deal deadline. Plus, cops believe they have their man, identifying the person they say went on a terrifying stabbing rampage at a Michigan Walmart. And if you like it, then you should have put a handcuff on it. Why President Trump says Beyonce broke the law. Those stories and more today, Monday, July 28th. I'm Caitlin Becker, and this is the New York Postcast. If you really want to know about those Jeffrey Epstein files, I promise Congressman Thomas Massie wants to know more. The Kentucky lawmaker is leading the charge in the House to release everything they have on the late billionaire sex offender, and he's willing to go to great lengths, suggesting that the Trump administration do, quote, whatever they need to do to get relevant testimony out of Epstein's gal pal accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell, which includes, get this, floating the idea of a pardon. Now, reminder, Ghislaine Maxwell is serving 2 decades in lockup for facilitating Epstein's years and years of heinous sex crimes. Now, this comes after Deputy AG Todd Blanche met with Maxwell for hours on 2 separate days last week. Massie, a Republican, has linked with Cali Democrat Ro Khanna in pushing for the release of the files. But a possible pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell was just a bridge too far for the California congressman. And Khanna also said that he has concerns about Blanche's private meeting with her. Now, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, who last week sent the House home early in order to avoid a non-binding vote on releasing those files, was asked about the potential pardon on Meet the Press Sunday.
It's hard to put into words how evil this was, and that she orchestrated it and was a big part of it, at least under the criminal sanction, I think is an unforgivable thing. So, again, not my decision, but I have great pause about that, as any reasonable person would.
He also said that he thought Maxwell deserved a life sentence and not just the 20 years she was given. Now to a sting operation in Texas that nabbed 3 illegal El Salvadoran migrants who were allegedly using a dating app to prey on teen girls. Houston police officers posed as underage girls on the dating app Jalmo and netted the 3 men who are now being held on immigration detainers at the Harris County Jail. A 37-year-old, 33-year-old, and 30-year-old were arrested separately over the last 10 days, each of them charged with online solicitation of a minor. This was in a to-catch-a-predator-style operation, with the cops chatting with the accused perps, posing as 14 to 16-year-old girls. Officials say that the sting was not focused on illegal migrants, but the 3 who were arrested happened to also be in the country illegally. And now to Traverse City, Michigan, where police have identified the madman they say went on a stabbing rampage in a local Walmart, injuring 11 customers over the weekend. 42-year-old Bradford James Gilley is charged with 1 count of terrorism and 11 counts of assault with the intent to murder. And he's got a rap sheet including drug offenses and vandalism. Now, witnesses on the scene describe a truly gruesome attack, with one telling a local TV station they saw someone get stabbed in the eye. The severity of this hands-on violence here cannot be overstated. 4 of the victims were in serious condition by Sunday evening, the other 7 in fair condition, and thankfully, all are expected to make full recoveries. Now, this terrifying ordeal unfolded in the early evening Saturday around 5 p.m. Authorities say the stabbings appeared to be completely random, and honestly, it could have been worse. It was thanks to brave shoppers, one of whom who was armed, who took down this suspect before police arrived. Now to our big story, a massive trade deal with the European Union. The Trump administration's twice-delayed tariff deadline is just a few days away, but on Sunday, the president announced a new deal with the 27 countries of the EU. The agreement will see the European Union purchase $750 billion of American energy and invest $600 billion into the U.S. beyond its current levels. In return, European goods will get a 15% tariff, or half of the president's Liberation Day rate he announced back in April. While trade with Mexico is the country's largest single nation deal, trade with the EU as a whole is actually larger. Last year, total trade between the U.S. and the EU amounted to over $975 billion. Now, to dig a little deeper into this, I am joined by the Post's deputy managing editor, Michael Zenny. So, Michael, what's the impact of this deal to you, to me, to the average American consumer? What does this look like?
Hey, thanks. So actually, I think I'm going to weasel out of this question a little bit, because this is not really aimed at the American consumer, is it? And that's been sort of the tension of Trump's trade war all along, right? So really, Trump officials like Howard Lutnick say that there is not going to be any appreciable impact on consumers in the US. But of course, economists say if you are increasing the tariffs on imported goods like wine and cheese and all the nice things that we get from Europe, that it will be more expensive. But in reality, what this deal is really aimed at is the American worker, right? Workers and farmers. The big sort of win, I think, that was surprising to a lot of the uninitiated here is we're talking about zero tariffs on huge categories of US exports to Europe, as well as massive investment in energy, defense. This is actually where the real sort of rubber hits the road impacts are going to be.
I heard wine and cheese and my whole body started to shudder there. So I sincerely hope that doesn't happen. Now, we know what's included in the trade deal, but what isn't, and why are these certain things excluded from this?
Yeah, so this is a broad preliminary trade work, a broad preliminary framework. And the big category of goods that is explicitly not included is pharma. And for our friends in Ireland, this is actually probably the biggest deal because they're massive exporters of pharmaceuticals. And President Trump has said specifically that he really does want to reshore manufacturing of American pharmaceuticals back to the US. There's also big questions about how steel and aluminum tariffs and other things are going to be impacted.
Now, the Secretary of Commerce said that there would not be another extension to that August 1st tariff deadline. And we know in the past there have been extensions kind of thrown out willy-nilly when needed. So walk me through the biggest outstanding issues with some of the countries ahead of this deadline.
Great. Yeah. Honestly, there actually has sort of been an extension, right? So they're staring down a August 12 deadline to agree to a new framework with China. And they've already said that they are going to continue to work through those negotiations to ensure that deal can get done. And really, with the EU agreement, though, the Trump administration has really sort of agreed frameworks with most of the major trading partners with the US. We've got the UK, Vietnam, Japan, Indonesia, and the Philippines. Canada and Mexico are separate. So, but that said, with the rest of them, if it is indeed the case that there's no extension, we're going to see a significant increase in tariffs on all the rest of the countries in the world.
Okay, ensuring that our wine and cheese nights are still safe. Michael Zenny, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is not what Beyonce meant by cuff it. President Trump is once again calling out Beyonce and Oprah for supporting his former opponent Kamala Harris because we are still apparently hung up on that. The president claiming that Harris campaign payments to the global stars for their appearances equated to buying their endorsements. Harris previously drew criticism for shelling out $165,000 to Beyonce's production company for a Houston campaign rally. Oprah's production company was paid $1 million to produce a live stream event. Now, the Harris campaign claimed that they were paying for the costs associated with those events and not for the celebrities themselves to endorse her for president. But Trump's latest accusation includes some fresh new numbers that are just way higher than those I listed. The president claims the Harris campaign paid Beyonce $11 million and Oprah $3 million, though it's not really clear where these numbers are coming from. The president simply called them ridiculous fees and suggested that they were, quote, incorrectly stated in the books and records, and now he wants everyone involved to be prosecuted. And finally today, hot for preacher. Beginning today, the Vatican is set to host nearly 1,000 priests and influencers from around the world. Now, the purpose of this papal party is to discuss how to better spread the church's message through social media. And now I say this with all respect. Some of these men of the cloth are packing in pews, not just because of their Instagram followings, but for their, shall we say, heavenly bodies. Father Ambrosio Mazzai is a guitar-playing, bike-riding poet who treats his 460,000 Instagram followers to their fair share of smoldering selfies. And Father Giuseppe Fusari will also be in attendance. He's known for not just spreading the word of the Lord, but for being an inked-up bodybuilder. Now, he spoke to The Telegraph about this week's meeting, saying, quote, "I hope it will bring people closer to the church. There's a lot of curiosity, and I'm convinced that social media is one way to attract people." Well, you're attracting something, Father. Now, this church event that is being thrown is being called a jubilee for digital missionaries and Catholic influencers. And according to the church, it seeks to, quote, "unite our efforts to celebrate, train, and inspire those called to evangelize on digital platforms." Now, if you go check out these photos, do not come to me with any blame for any of your impure thoughts. Those are between you and your higher power. But if you're curious, and you should be, go check them out on the New York Post in print or online. And praise be, I will be back here tomorrow with another great mix of stories. So don't forget to like and subscribe to the New York Postcast wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Amen. See you tomorrow.